July 1853. 4 American warships appear in Edo Bay. Japan has been closed to the world for over 200 years. They have no modern navy. They have no answer. A 17-year-old low-rank samurai named Sakamoto Ryoma watches from shore. He is a deserter, a fugitive with no official standing in any organization that matters. He will negotiate an alliance between 2 domains that have been enemies for generations. He will found what historians call the first modern Japanese company. He will draft a constitutional plan for Japan that was startling in its modernity. He will be assassinated at 31, 1 month before the Meiji Restoration, the revolution he spent his entire life making possible. He never saw it happen. Stay with me. Because the man who built modern Japan died before it existed. Sakamoto Ryoma was born in 1836 in the Tosa domain in Shikoku. Tosa had a rigid class system. There were high-ranking samurai and low-ranking samurai, and there were rules about which families could speak to which other families, which entrances to use, which roads to walk on. Ryoma's family was low-ranking. His father was a merchant who had bought samurai status, technically legitimate, socially suspect. From childhood, Ryoma trained in swordsmanship and rose to genuine skill. But skill didn't change status, and the black ships didn't care about status. When Perry's fleet appeared, Ryoma went to Edo to volunteer for coastal defense. He practiced with swords while the Americans had cannons. He understood what this meant, what he did about it. The choice he made at 25 was something no samurai from his background had tried before. In 1862, Ryoma deserted his domain. This was a capital offense. Domain samurai were legally property of their lord. Leaving without permission was desertion, punishable by death. Your own domain's death squads would hunt you. But Japan was fracturing. The question of what to do about Western power was tearing the country apart. One faction, Sono Joy, revere the emperor, expel the barbarians, wanted to close Japan harder. Another faction, the eventual winners, concluded that Japan had to modernize or be colonized. Ryoma didn't fit neatly into either faction. He went rogue. He traveled Japan, meeting reformers, radicals, and people who were also figuring it out as they went. He found his way to Katsu Kaishu, a senior shogunate official who was also a modernizer. Katsu was so impressive that Ryoma, who had come to assassinate him, became his protege instead. He went rogue, and the first thing he did with his freedom was change his mind about killing someone who ended up changing his life instead. By the mid-1860s, Japan was on the edge of civil war between the Tokugawa shogunate and the domains that wanted to replace it. Primarily, Satsuma and Choshu. There was one problem. Satsuma and Choshu hated each other. They had been enemies for generations. They would not cooperate. Ryoma spent over a year traveling between them, negotiating, persuading, carrying messages, and building trust between people who had none. In 1866, the Satsuma-Choshu alliance was signed. 2 domains that had been enemies agreed to fight together against the shogunate. This alliance was decisive. Without it, the modernizing forces could not have won. With it, the Meiji Restoration 3 years later became possible. Ryoma was not a lord. He had no official standing. He made the alliance happen anyway, so he brokered the alliance that made the restoration possible. Then, Because the old Japan had no institution for a man like him, he invented his own. In 1865, Ryoma did something that had almost no precedent in Japan. He founded a trading company. The Kameyama Company, later renamed Kaientai, was a commercial enterprise that dealt in weapons, shipping, and supplies. It operated outside domain boundaries, outside the traditional guild structures, outside most of the rules of the existing system. It was, historians have argued, the first modern commercial enterprise in Japanese history. Ryoma was not romanticizing the samurai past. He was trying to build what Japan would need after it. He drafted a plan for a new Japanese government, constitutional government, separation of powers, elected assembly. That was startling in its modernity for its time and place. He was planning the future. He didn't know he had 1 month left. November 15th, 1867. Ryoma is in Kyoto, at an inn called Omiya. He is 31 years old. The political situation is moving faster than anyone expected. The shogunate has announced it will return political authority to the emperor. The old system is ending. Ryoma is writing letters. He is planning what comes next. Assassins enter the inn. The attack is fast. Ryoma is wounded, then struck again. He dies that night or the following morning. Accounts differ. Who sent the assassins is still debated. Possible suspects include supporters of the shogunate, rival factions within the reform movement, and others who had reasons to want him gone at this specific moment. The Meiji Restoration happened the following January. Ryoma did not see it. He was gone. What the revolution he made actually became, and whether it was what he had planned, is the question Japan has been arguing about ever since. In Japan, Sakamoto Ryoma is something close to a saint. He is the subject of more historical novels than almost any other figure in Japanese history. Ryotaro Shiba's novel about him, Ryoma ga Yuku, has sold tens of millions of copies and is credited by some Japanese readers with shaping their understanding of modernization. He is depicted as the samurai who saw beyond the samurai system, the insider who dismantled from within, the man who believed Japan could change and worked to make it change. What makes the legend durable? He was right. Japan did what he thought it needed to do. It worked. He died before he could see it. Sakamoto Ryoma was a deserter, a fugitive, an unauthorized negotiator with no official standing, who may have saved Japan from the civil war that would have made modernization impossible. He was assassinated at 31, 1 month before the revolution he helped create. Here is the question. If Ryoma had lived, if he had been there for the Meiji Restoration and its aftermath, would Japan have become a more democratic country? His plans suggest a constitutional government with an elected assembly. The Meiji government that actually emerged was more authoritarian. He isn't here to argue. This is the Dragon Throne. We cover the revolutionaries who didn't survive their revolutions, the plans that outlasted their makers, and the moments when one person changed everything. Subscribe. New episode every week.